Right. Welcome back.
This is not blocking my face like the last episode.
All right. So I wanted to talk to you about. So I was reading. I told you I was going through the Power of Zero, and it was talking about the that 15-year like grace period that they gave us on taxes. So like taxes are technically low. But I didn't realize that grace period ends in 2024.
Like at the end of 2024? Or like once 2024 starts?
I think it was like May. Like it was kind of wild. Raggedy. It was kind of wild because I was looking and I need to look at it to be sure. But I just know that it ends, even if it is the end of 2024. I thought that's wild. Like we're already in a recession, even though we're not calling it that. It's like we're calling it like a session, and just not calling it a recession.
We're the next president will call it that.
Yeah. But then we're gonna come into what's expected to be higher taxes unless they extend that tax break.
They've got to extend it. I mean, they need to extend these student loans too. Like again. Even more. But anyways.
Where's my boy Dave Ramsey? Pay off the student loans. Pay them off, Lord.
I'm just saying something. But go into depth more about.
So, right. Taxes were rising, right? Of course, the intent was to hurt the wealthy by making them pay taxes. Mm-hmm. And then they realized, hey, there's a lot less wealthy people, let's tax everyone and get a little bit, and hey, this works, so let's tax them a lot. Mm-hmm. And taxes were going up, and they were like, hey, at this rate, there's no point in working, we'll just collect Social Security. And it was like, hold on, that's not built out yet. Like, let's give this tax break, because taxes were just continuing to rise. So they put in this 15-year tax break hoping that, I guess, the debt would balance out, and, right? Total joke.
Whatever kind of math that was going on in there.
I'm pretty sure we just sent the Ukraine another $24 billion, but I think the hope was that everything else will settle out so that everyone will be on their feet and can raise taxes. Well, that 15-year break ends in 2024, so whether it's the beginning or the end,
it's still the beginning of the end. Oh man, so
what do you think about that? Because I know me personally, I have not set enough stuff in place to make sure that I am protected from a tax status the way that I want to be.
Right.
I've limited 401k contributions. I'll never contribute again. Mm-hmm. But I'd like to do more Roth and all these things. But after tax now versus after tax, of me being taxed higher, am I really getting what I want out of my savings? So now I'm going to have to put more in. But
if taxes keep rising and rising and rising, it doesn't matter how much more you're going to keep putting in to savings, because every year, every 2 years, every 3 years,
behind the curve.
And to me, does that mean taxes on everything? Like taxes on the homes you own, the rentals you own, like how is all that going to be affected? Because savings, it isn't going to matter if taxes rise. 401k been over with for a long time.
But you know what's wild is how, just reading The Power of Zero and realizing how dependent the government is on you having a 401k.
So how are they going to? I guess that's my question. Then how are they going to weave that in? Because so many people are leaving 401ks. They make it so beneficial for the company to have them and to give people that match. But that's what I'm saying. But employees and associates are getting smarter to the point where they realize me trying to put in 6% and you're only matching a half of the half of a half percent.
Yeah.
I might as well get my money now and go invest it in somewhere else.
There are better companies than the ones that we've experienced.
Okay, maybe that's what. But let's
because there are companies that are still matching, 6%, 8%, and all that.
Which is not the majority, though.
It's
not the majority of the United States.
It's not. But then you still have big companies like Bank of America. Although they've Bank of America is
sour spot.
I know. I didn't want to say all the negative things that I have to say because there's still good in there, but we know about the lawsuits and the
right,
all of the redlining and the foolishness. But they still, if you're an employee and you're getting this 6 to 8% match, that's a good match. Like no one would tell you not to take for that free money. So you would continue at least inputting that 6 to 8% depending on where you are in their chain. However, on the return of that, when it comes to take that money out, and you're mentally planning for it to come out and be, okay, they're going to tax 30%, that's cool. What if taxes are 42%?
What if it's tax
Exactly.
And then you're also talking about, let's just say 100% of the companies in the United States, everybody's employed somewhere, type of thing. And let's just say 40% or 20% of those companies are doing the match, the 6 and 8%. Because most of the companies aren't. They're doing maybe 3%, that kind of range.
Trash can stuff.
So then therefore, employees, associates like myself, like you, when you were working at Amazon, you started taking out more and more. Like, I don't need, what am I putting money in here for? You're not matching it, you're not doing this. And more people are doing it now. So if the government is relying on that 20-40% of the companies that are doing it and not the other, where does that leave us to, and what does that put us in, just overall?
I feel like they're just going to incentivize it more to companies for them to offer something, because here, at the end of the day, it's still better than nothing, right? If all you can do, like even Big Rob said that, like, look at your 401k's company match and take the free money. Like at a baseline, if you haven't done anything else, you don't have any life insurance, you don't have anything saved, your savings account is also the account that you spend out of and pay bills out of. Like, if you don't have anything and you do have a 401k and a match from your company, like, it is a good baseline of something. If there are better options as you begin to grow financially, but if you're entry level and you're just learning finance, like, take advantage of your company's 401k, because there are advantages to the person who uses it, whether it's home buying and all that other kind of stuff. Without you even using it, having that money in there can qualify you for more home. Or
so what you're saying is the government's going to get real,
I feel like,
creative
and how they make it advantageous so that people use them, because it's not the 30% that they're waiting on using when you're cashing out in retirement. It's the 50% from you not touching your retirement at 70 and a half. And now they're like, all right, go ahead and withdraw, because we need that little money. We got to fund this war.
So, but again, he said the war's not. Again, when you start talking about 401ks, like, how are you going to be that creative? Because in people's mind now, I just think people are so much smarter now and intelligent now. They know, okay, man, when it's time to get ready to take this out, taxes, like you said, are probably going to be at 45%. So why would I even want to say
you're giving people more credit? But I feel like there are a lot less people.
Really? I feel like
you're talking about today's our age world.
But that's what I'm saying. Like, I feel like today's
anybody 10 years older than us or older has contributed and will continue to contribute to their 401k and is increasing their contributions.
Right. But at the same time, those people who are 50, 60, they're going to be using up whatever they got, like, here in the next 20 years. So if they're going to be using it up, and everybody that's 40, 30, 20 on down, they don't care. I feel like they don't care about 401ks as much. So therefore, where's that money going to come from for the government to
taxes?
But that's what I'm saying. So for people who, right now, who doesn't have a 401k, what are they going to do? Just people who don't have a 401k, who don't want a 401k, how are they going to keep up with this new tax that's going to be increasing, that they decide to increase unless they sell? Because they can halt it for another.
Universal life insurance policies.
I was heading there. Insurance policy is going to be the wave.
It is.
Because now you can't hit me.
But they about to, you know what's going to happen.
You think they're going to put the stipulations and regulations on?
No. And that's what I'm saying. Is like, I'm not ready. Like, I'm not in place enough, because I want to be at a place where I can consistently put, to be honest, like somewhere between $1,500 to $2,500 a month into.
So then, what do you tell the people who don't have a 401k, who don't have a Roth, who don't have life insurance?
I think they should get a Roth. I don't think there's anything wrong with the Roth. But, if you're not making over $138,000 a year, I say contribute to your Roth. That's not going to hurt you.
But that's what I'm saying. If there's going to be more and more taxes that get, that's going to rise. Mm-hmm. Why do I want to put? And they're going to change things, and why would I even want to do any of this? I might as well just live, however, because they're going to raise taxes regardless.
Plan for something, and you're gonna fall for anything.
I'm just saying, it just, I don't know, like.
The less planning you do, the less prepared you're going to be.
That's what Americans want to hear. That's what our community want to hear. They just want to stick our heads in the sand and just pretend see if it goes away.
Y'all gonna do this anyway. You know what I mean? Like I hear all of that, but I'm preparing for me. Like in the same way
me too.
Banks are buying up
large portions of real estate.
I'm talking about this year, over 14,000 homes in the city of Dallas.
I didn't know
this that much. Year.
So that means across the U.S. it's probably even.
Yes. So if banks are buying up homes like that they never plan on selling, that they will only ever rent out, and then whenever they're dilapidated and falling apart,
then maybe
they'll sell it. But maybe there'll be a whole network of investors who are lined up to get those, and then regular people can't buy homes
for the rest of their life.
Yeah,
and they'll keep raising up the rent. So raising up taxes,
and then as long as we maintain that 99.9% of wealthy people are invested in real estate and it's untouchable for anybody else, we can continue to widen that gap between wealthy and
which I highly believe. Like I talk to people all the time, and I tell them, man, get in position some kind of way, whether that's with stocks, life insurance policies, whatever it is, because the United States, I don't know about the rest of the world, but the United States, you are starting to really see it more and more now overall. Like that gap between that middle class is disappearing. Like middle class is getting split between you either got money or you don't have money. You're either rich or you're either poor. And it's becoming that way simply because of, like you said, the control of what banks and hedge funds and everybody's doing now. Like, I got to buy up all this. I got to control this. And so it's like, you better get in where you fit in. You better start, especially our community.
Yes.
Y'all better start getting in and finding ways to invest.
Something. It doesn't have to all that. Yeah, it doesn't have to be the same thing. You can have your own thing, but you need to invest in some ownership. Right, T.
Little Terica in the house, y'all.
Like you gotta invest in ownership. You gotta get some ownership in something because there's just not.
You're not going to survive working for an employer renting out for the rest of your life. Well, I don't want to say you're not going to survive. Maybe that's all you're going to be able to do is to survive versus thrive or live comfortably or whatever the case may be. So I don't know.
And then the simple fact is, it makes more sense to rent right now. And I think that's crazy for me to say. Like, I'm such an advocate for home ownership. Like, to me, it doesn't make sense to just be a homeowner. Like, if you're buying property now, it needs to be multifamily. If you're just buying for yourself, rates, what was the end of the week, my last pre-approval that came through at 8.25%.
That's how high it is now?
Yes. So at that point, and then you have to realize, like,
but
when I bought my home,
right? Or you don't think it's just going to ever go back that low?
It'll never go back that low. I don't think. And I won't even say never. I think it'll be a long time before it gets back as low as it did, like when I bought my house. Mm-hmm. So when I bought my house, and this house was not $400,000, but in the year I bought my house, if you were to buy a $400,000 house, your mortgage was around $2,200 a month. Most people are paying more than that for their rent right now, and they're renting 1 and 2 bedrooms. And a $400,000 house, if you're watching this in California, you're talking about living in a shoebox. Yeah. But in Texas, a $400,000 house is a 4-bedroom, 3 full baths, 2,000 plus square feet. Right now, that same mortgage is about $4,150. That same mortgage. So, and then the thing that sucks is, even though what you're paying is higher, it's all going towards interest. Right. So it's nothing. So you're not paying anything. It doesn't go towards your home. It's not going towards additional insurance. It's not going even towards taxes. Like, at least if you knew that money was going towards taxes, you would think, at least my roads and schools got to get better. Right. Like, it's interest. So banks are just getting wealthier.
Is if you're going to buy a home, use it for some kind of rental, some kind of something, because at least you'll be getting some cash flow, and you'll be getting just, I don't know how much it'll grow over the years.
But it will. I mean, at the end of the day, even with all the ups and downs, DFW averages out at about 3.6% in appreciation each year.
So it grows.
So it'll still grow in value, and you'll have something. But multifamily right now is the only thing that makes sense. And so I did hear that the wealthy were doing other things, like the ones that had put in a lot of money into 401ks and things. So if they had, say for example, I had $800,000 to $1 million, and I wanted to buy a $500,000 house in Texas, which is still a nice house, I would borrow all of the money from my 401k, and I would take out a loan.
On yourself?
From my own 401k. But I'm buying a house, looks like cash, because I'm buying it all at once. I'm giving them the whole $500,000. But now on my loan, I'm only paying 4 to 6% interest.
Because of how much you done put down? Or...
Just because that's how much the loan is for your 401k. Whenever you take out a loan for a 401k, that interest rate is lower than getting a mortgage. So they're buying it cash, and then they're giving them...
401k. Wow.
Exactly, and they're paying that. And I was like, dang, that's only a strategy for the wealthy, though, because, like, most people, even if you got $150,000 in your, I mean, you can only borrow $75,000 of that, so you still can't buy a whole house. But if you're extremely wealthy and you did have a large lump sum in your 401k, you could take out a loan, and because it's a loan, there's no tax implications because you didn't withdraw it. But you're paying it back at 4 to 6%.
You said
so something much lower
earlier about it, so it's probably better to rent right now. But if it's better to rent right now,
to say that
what
out
are you
loud,
earning, and what are you earning money from?
So here's what I think, and here's what I have seen people do. Our community, like especially like Africans, I'm seeing them do this. They're purchasing 4 and 5 bedroom homes, and like three or four single girls, nurses, whatever, they're all living in that home. And so now we're still only paying about $800 a month in rent. And we all live together.
So everybody has their own room or whatever, renting out a room, using the same kitchen and all that.
Yes.
I guess it's easier to be like, yo.
And it's cheaper. Now I can actually save money. Because I'm still only paying $800 a month. And there's even, when the rates were starting to rise, there were 2 single moms I was working with, and they were like, we don't want to buy together because we don't really know each other like that, but we do want to rent together. And we want to help each other out with like watching each other's kids or whatever. And it was brilliant. It wasn't our community, but I thought that's so smart. So they're renting together. They both pay like $900 a month. I think it was like $1,800 a month. I'm lying. It was like $2,100 a month to rent this house. And so I helped them lease this house, but they were just splitting it and helping each other. And they were like, our goal is just to rent it for about 3 years and save up money.
I was just going to say, so that way you can just put money back.
Yes.
And it's almost like you're earning money off a rental in a sense. Because it's like, yo, if you pay $1,000, I pay $1,000, and it costs $2,000 to rent. Cool. Now I'm saving $1,000, and I can put back every month, or every 2 months, or whatever.
Yes.
Now you got $12,000 at the end of the year,
exactly.
$24,000 at the end of 2 years.
And you actually can put some money in, because that's what's hurting a lot of us right now when we are trying to buy. If you got 2 people who have a good job and they go to buy a home, well, they have a good job, interest rates are high, and you need somebody to buy down the rate, so you got to offer higher, so you can't even buy at the top of your purchasing budget. You got to buy a little bit lower so you can offer higher and have them pay for your closing costs, but you still need down payment assistance because you don't have no money saved because you've been paying $2,500 a month for rent. And so now you need down payment assistance, and down payment assistance adds like an extra 0.5% to your interest rate. So now you're not 8.25, you're 8.75% interest rate. 10%. Yeah. Which is, and then you're like, oh, okay, so I can keep renting where I'm at for $2,500 a month, or buy a home that's below the quality that I want for $3,100 a month, I'm out. Or the answer is no.
Or find a roommate that will split some rent.
Absolutely.
With
So
you.
especially for like single individuals, if you're single, you're not married, no kids. You should be roommated up. Yeah. You should be roommated up. And if it is single mothers and you know somebody else who's like kind of on the same grind as you and y'all working together anyway, definitely split a house. Go 4-bedroom, 2-bath and y'all, something like that.
Now I'm thinking though, like what's that dynamic look like for the person who's renting out that home? Like, say you may, like I may know you or I may know you from work and you're like, yo, man, you want to get rent out a house, together type of thing. As the owner of that house, what if they get into it? You know what I'm saying? Like, what are all those dynamics?
So it's the same as renting to people who are dating. It's no different because they break up. It's the same. But
then again, like with dating, it's like, yo, y'all signed the lease together. Well,
it's the same. Yeah, it's the same. They have to sign it. They're still co-applicants. Yeah. It's still the same. Okay. It's not like somebody's doing the paperwork and then somebody's signing in.
That's what I'm
No, okay. No. They're both on it. They're both on it. And it gives, and so like the two moms, like when I met with them at like a coffee shop somewhere in Forney. And they were talking about, okay, so we both need to work on our credit. We both need to work on this. And like they had a whole plan. And I was like, that's, so smart.
That may be something to write up a small, like a digital product or something that says.
Set us some fires. I see you.
I'm just saying, as a digital product to offer that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, here's maybe the next wave or the next best thing for you to help build your credit, to help you save money, to get you out the gate to go start investing in other stuff.
Oh yeah.
Stay here for 3 years. Stay here for 2 years. Stay here for 5 years.
But that's the thing, like people don't be willing to make that sacrifice. And then there's also
gonna fix your credit and get you money to save. I'm okay.
We talked about this with vouchers too.
We did. You're right.
And people do not be willing to make that sacrifice. I know when I talk to other people about it, and I ask like, would you be willing to do this with somebody else who's looking, or I just don't like the way other people live. See? They might be like this, and they might be like that, and I'm like, so a part of understanding that you may be in a situation of a struggle for a small period, I can tell myself that this is not going to be forever, and I can suck it up.
But can the majority of people?
Kind of like flying Spirit.
That is Spirit. Frontier. Oh man, like don't even get me started on Frontier. Is by far. I'll never fly Frontier ever in my life again.
I think the only people who should fly Frontier are people who are like Megan, who have great knees. If you got knees like Megan, you can sit comfortably in a Frontier seat. You flex those knees so often that you're good. I don't have knees like Megan.
I don't have knees. Great knees, period.
I'm not a tall person, and I've never touched the back of an airplane seat. So being on that Frontier flight and my knees grinding on the back of that thing, I was like, what do people who are over 5'5" do?
That's why I'm going to tell you. That's why I choose aisle seats, so I can stretch my leg out over here, pop my knee out, make sure it's okay, because that flight to Atlanta, we went to Invest Space on Frontier, never again. Never again. I know that's a rabbit hole, but I'm just saying, when you said Spirit, first thing that came to my mind was Frontier. Like I've got a beef with them.
But you know what? We got such a great deal. Like we flew for like 42 cents, right?
And that's why
when I got on the plane, I was like, "This is miserable," but I know I flew for 42 cents, so I can manage. I can get to where I'm going. Even though I'm sitting like this, I can manage because I know that at some point this is going to end, and it benefited me this time. Just really not knowing what we were going into and not knowing what to expect. I know next time that I need a business seat. Like I need some type of preferred seating.
What you're saying
like I know because I'm
that
prepared.
Can translate into renting and having a
absolutely, and being uncomfortable for a little while. Yeah. Because if you think about it, when I was in college, like we all lived differently. Like I was never the type of person to, like, you don't load the dishwasher until you're ready to wash the dishes. Because if I pull out that rack, my assumption is all of the dishes in here are clean. They're not. And other people don't do that. That's just always the way we've done it in my home. So I would constantly open up like, this dishwasher sucks. Like, it is not cleaning these dishes. And then they're like, oh, did you start it? And I'd be like, why would they be here?
Yeah.
I would be...
Well, see, in college, you can do... Those things are different in college. You had a different mindset as well in college. You can sleep on the floor, on the couch, everywhere else. You know,
I had a roommate...
Eating ramen noodles.
As an adult. When I was living in California, I had a roommate. And it was an absolute perfect situation. And I think we both knew one thing. We didn't want to live in California like paupers. We did not want to just be like slumming it. And it was so expensive compared to anywhere else to live in California. Even like my family that was there, like in comparison to what they would have in Texas was so different. And I was like, so when we flew out there and we saw what we could afford alone, we were like, so I'm going to be honest with you. You know that neighborhood that we drove past to get to the dump of places that we could afford? I like that neighborhood. And there was a sign, and we could both just pay $1,800 a month, and we could live there and just pay $1,800 a month. Because if we pay $1,800 a month alone,
right,
we're in some nasty, shady looking places that only have a washer connection, and you got a line for the dryer. Like,
the clips on.
I am too old to be clipped.
Hey, it saves you money, right?
Then we found this 3-story new construction rental. We still both paid out like $1,800 a month. It was something crazy. But we had the countertop that was marbled, the island, all the way across. It was nice. We would live. People be like, "Yo, it's so nice in here."
Living large,
but
balling.
Yeah, like how much y'all pay? We're like $3,600. That's a lot. Yeah, but we only still pay what you paid for your dump.
Right.
We just paid it together because we realized that we wanted front load washer and dryer, and we realized we wanted marble countertops. Like we were like, I'm young, I'm not married, I don't have no kids. And I'm not about to live out here like a pauper.
Right.
So let's live like how we want to live and let's live together. And it was because we had the same understanding, it worked.
Do you feel like you can still do that now?
I could.
With your kid?
I could, depending on the person.
So they would have to like have a kid too or something like that?
They wouldn't even necessarily have to have a kid because I don't need help anymore, if that makes sense. Like I'm not at a place where like I need coverage because I make my own hours. So I pick them up and drop them off when I need to. But before with my work schedule, when we were working, I would have absolutely needed, help with pick up and drop off, and I would have done the same. But in how I am now, I feel like I could absolutely have a roommate. If somebody was like, yeah, I'm going to pay you $800 a month, and I could I'm like, that means I could put that $800 a month into a policy.
I was just finna
That's my first
So
time.
I'm getting back to this. Like, right now we're talking about how taxes are probably going to end up getting, higher and higher and higher as time goes on.
Yes.
And we're talking about strategies of, okay, maybe we need to start renting and, being in a 4-bedroom, but 4 people in there renting out each room.
Yeah.
Why would you say, just on just your thought alone, go ahead and start diving into insurance policies instead of like a 401k or something like that? If you're paying above the match for a 401k or something, because what?
Because I feel like is safe right now, and like with everything else in chaos, you need a safe investment. Like stocks isn't safe, right? Like stocks is the game, and if you know how to play it, you know how to play it on the up and on the down, and still make gains, right? But if you're a novice, like that's not. You're like, look,
losing money left and right.
Yeah, like it doesn't make sense. And so still put small investments forward, still study stocks, but like if you need something, like I feel like
steady.
Indexed annuities, indexed life insurance it guarantees me no loss or minimal loss. So that's the thing that I would feel the most comfortable putting my money into, especially at my age now. Like, I can't take no losses.
Plus insurance policies aren't getting taxed like everything else is.
No, not in the least. So
I guess for me also, I think in our community we think, and I think we've talked about this before, we think it's a waste or a scam or whatever, but I'm coming to the understanding, if you can get to the understanding that this life insurance policy isn't just for me, then it changes the game in a major way, because for one, it still benefits you. Like, absolutely. It still benefits you because of the things that the life insurance policy comes with. Yes. But it also benefits, say that if you everybody's going to pass away. Yeah. When you pass away, your husband or your wife, whoever, will get that money, or your kids will get that money. Yes. And then now that money is not taxed to be given to them. Yeah. So now they're getting something that's tax free. Yes. Again, versus like, okay, if you pass down a house, then they're probably going to get you with taxes.
Yeah, because you got to put it into the trust.
So, exactly. So to me, I feel like, man, insurance, if you can look at it as, I know I'm paying a month, $100, $200 a month, but this is going to benefit 5 people. This is going to benefit 10 people. This is going to benefit 2 people. It changes the game in the sense that, dang, if everybody in my family has one of these, now it multiplies that by 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, on down the line. Yeah. And that's, even if you couldn't put in as much as you wanted to, like I said, I want to be at like $1,500, $2,500 a month. Like, I want to have that to be able to put into a policy so that it's safe and that money's guarded. You can still absolutely do that on a $250 a month policy. If I ever need, that's the one thing I like about the index universal policies, is that they are flexible so that you can increase what you put in. And so you have a roommate for a little while, so you can put in an extra $400 a month. And then all of a sudden that roommate moves out, or that roommate gets married, right? Like, or you get married, or whatever, the case is, and y'all will split up. Okay, well, at the end of the day, I still only need to put in $250 a month. I can manage the $250 a month. I liked putting in $700, right? But I can go back down to $250 a month until I find they allow you to be flexible, and there's no penalty, there's no nothing. You pay your minimum insurance for the year, and everything else you put in is just for you, so that you can continue to multiply. I didn't even think. You see, so it's. I'm just kind of. I mean, I don't know if I'm gonna do it. I'm married with kids, but it's exciting to see like the possibilities of. One, if you decide to get in the house with somebody else and rent out the rooms, yes, it's like you said, it's uncomfortable for a little while. We're just trying to learn each other and all this. But your credit score goes up. Yes. The savings goes up. Yes. You have more money to be put into a policy. Yes. Which is also another investment. And you can think about, like, you got somebody you can rely on as well. So you're not just on your own 100%. Like, not that you're using that person's money, but like if something goes down or was to happen, like you were to, I don't know, get into a car accident, you still got that person who you can be like, hey, can you turn this off? Hey, can you turn this on? Hey, can you pick this person up? Can you do like, I don't need any money from you, but can you cover me on this? Please help me out.
Exactly. And you have that person there, because a lot of it when you're being, a single parent, is that there is no one else to rely on. Yeah. The reason why I have rental properties is because that's the other income. Yeah. That's the other person's income. For me, I like to say that it's more in this building, but for me right now, it's just that other person's income that doesn't exist. So for people to rent together, you have that peace of mind that I don't have to come up with 100%. Yeah. I just need to cover just enough, like below what I can do, what I'm capable of. I just need to cover that small amount. Everything else is extra.
That is like a catapult. I don't know. I don't know why I'm so excited. It's not like I'm going to be doing
you're not a single mom.
But I mean, even single dads or just people without kids, it will catapult you into a place of
another life.
Okay, now I can afford to get these rentals. I can't afford to get this or put this in an investment. Course. I can't afford a policy. Yes. My credit score is now at an 800 because I don't have to pay for it. I didn't even mention that. I'm thinking about it, paying off debt. Like, getting out of the way, getting that debt out of the way. So now you have extra money to do whatever you want to do.
Yes.
Like, it just, I don't know why I'm excited right now. Like, that's an exciting strategy.
Another thing is a lot of people don't realize, and I was talking to a mom, there's a single mom in Fort Worth, and she said it, and I was like, that's brilliant. So she was like, I want to get a house, and I want to get it outside of an area with an HOA, and I want to get it with enough land so that in case, because her daughter's older, and she's like, in case interest rates and stuff like that keeps going up, if there's ever a time that she can't buy, she can build on my land. And I was like,
and just put a house.
So that's the thing. That's another thing that you got to look into. Like when you're buying, if you're buying and you have an opportunity to buy land with your home, like if you can get a home sitting on a half acre, there's room for another house.
I'm thinking now, but then if people buy, you don't necessarily have to rent. Let's just say you buy a house, right? You've got friends or family. Why not move them in and make them, say, hey, you can rent, not make them.
Because family, I feel like, is worse than a friend. I don't, no disrespect.
I thought we were going to get through this podcast without.
But I just feel like family disrespects you on a whole different level than a friend would.
I'm trying to provide like,
you gotta love me. Let's be family. So I can disrespect you.
I mean, I'm trying to provide strategy. I guess, yeah, you're right. Family, even some friends can do that. But I guess I'm saying if you do buy a house and you're saying to yourself, like, man, taxes are getting higher, things are getting crazier.
Yes.
Just regular life, everyday life is getting higher in cost. Maybe I've got this 4-bedroom, or I've got this 3-bedroom, or I've got this 2-bedroom.
You could.
Maybe I should just go ahead and rent it out for $1,000, $800, just to help out with,
And people are coming to me as a realtor and saying, hey, are you able to just lease out my upstairs?
See.
It's 2 bedrooms, 1 bath. It's 3 bedrooms, 1 bath. Or the only bedroom downstairs is the master. They can have the whole upstairs. It's 1.5 baths and it's 3 bedrooms.
That makes so much more sense.
And I was like, let me find out. And they're like, I'll change my door to exterior door on my bedroom so that I feel safe. But I would be fine with somebody living.
Better credit score, paying off debt, getting insurance policies, saving money.
It's everything.
If you can just be uncomfortable just for a little bit.
And like it's not even really uncomfortable. If you're focused on just your goal, like when I knew I was paying off my student loan debt, not going out with friends made me happy. I was like, I just saved $150. I felt like I was winning. It didn't feel like, and that's where I feel like that Venus Williams quote stands out so much, like discipline is freedom. Because when you start lining up and doing everything consistently and you found that discipline, you have the freedom to do all the things that discipline has allowed you. And I was just like...
I was going to play the church organ in there. They're going to shout on this one.
I had that freedom. And so like people, and it got to a point where I'm not even going to ask Sabrina, God, she's going to say no. You sure right. These student loans almost paid off. I paid off. My goal was to pay off my student loans in 8 months. It was $29,000. Like I had never paid off. I was so strict. When I tell you that I allotted myself the Walmart ordering cart, you had to order at least like $30 worth of stuff. I would order $31. And that was whatever was in there was my groceries for the week. I was not going over that.
And you just ate whatever it was and let it be.
If we're eating fruit cups for dinner, then we're eating fruit cups for dinner. But I tell you what, I only spent $30 on food this week. Like I got so strict with everything. And it was wild because as I was paying off my student loans, I paid them off faster than I thought. Because as you pay off one and you do the snowball method and start paying off the other ones, I rolled in my credit card debt.
See.
And then I was like, okay, so my goal was to pay off my student loans in this 8 months. Here. But I did my student loans, and because I had extra, I ended up paying off a large portion of my credit cards too. I think the credit cards took me the full year to knock out, but I paid for some of my school on credit cards.
Can you pay for some of my school loans? Silence. Oh man, I thought we were on a podcast. But
I am not Robert. I am not paying off them student loans. I am not Big Rob.
Man, like I can't believe those people don't even go to those meetings. But anyways,
yeah.
I feel like, man, that's a great strategy for people right now who are able to. I know it's not, feasible for everybody, but
no, but I feel like there's a lot of opportunity right now to have a roommate or go back and move in with family or do whatever. But the thing is, you have to have that discussion. You have to have that discussion. If you're going to go into a lease with somebody, and I feel like I have dating couples who don't do this, and they'll go into a lease and then a couple months later, one of them's calling me, I need to find something else for me. Like, you're still on that lease. Like, I know you think that you're just going to leave, but if this person is not able to cover the full month, and this person gets evicted, that eviction is going to be on you. So be prepared to buy next. So wherever you go next, love it, or be prepared to buy, because that
going to hit your credit.
It's going to hit. It's going to hit you. And any unpaid balance that you both have, you both get the total balance. They don't be like, oh, they owed me $3,000, so let's put $1,500 on this person's credit and $1,500 on this person's credit. You both owe $3,000. The debt total is $3,000, so you both have $3,000 in debt.
So, say one person pays off $2,500 and the other person pays off $500.
So now you both have $500 sitting on. It shows that you still both have a balance for $500 each.
Nah, I need you to pay your half.
Exactly. So I'm like, people don't have these discussions on like, what is going to be our actual financial goal when we go into this partnership, and it's a partnership. If it's not marriage, it's just a partnership. When we go into this partnership, what is our goal? Well, I thought we was going to do this for like 5 years. Like, no, I was only ever going to do this for 2 max. Like, it needs to be discussed, because if you're not on the same page, then it falls apart. And then if you end up splitting up, leaving early, whatever, and now somebody's got to pay extra to stay alive, you lost all of that savings. So you have to have that discussion like, hey, we're going to stay together for 2 years. And we'll reassess at the end of 2 years, but right now the plan is 2 years. And we're both going to pay half. We're going to do this. We're going to do that. We're only going to have these bills. Anything extra, you're paying for yourself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because, like, I know specifically the 2 ladies that are in this neighborhood, one of them was like, well, I want to make sure we have a security. And she was like, I have a gun.
That's all the security I need.
Like, what do you need? I've got us. We're covered.
Don't need to pay for nothing. It's all good.
So like, well, I'm going to go ahead and get a security, and I'll just pay for it, and I'll give you the code in case the alarm goes off.
That's cool.
Exactly.
The mom go off, I got the other half with the spraying everything. That's how we survive.
So it's still like and they were talking about it while we were discussing what they were looking for in the house, and they were discussing these other things, and I was like, it's so good that they're getting this out into the open, because it's like, well, I got us a security system. I thought you were gonna pay half.
I need that
no, I got mine. You didn't pay half.
Here go my half right here.
Yeah, so like it was discussed, like it was completely open. It was completely discussed. Like I'm sure they're fine. Neither one of them have reached back out to me for anything, so I'm sure they're still, making it work for themselves. But I think it's a great solution for people. If you're trying to save and you're trying to figure out how do I get that, because the only other option, right, is to live way below your means to save up, and it can put you in such an unsafe and unsanitary area. I did have a lady that decided, she was like, I'm too old to be living with somebody else. And so she decided to live on her own and just go down in quality of life. So she was paying I think it was $1,800 a month, paying $1,200 a month for this 1 bedroom where she's at. But where she's at, she called me within 2 weeks. Neighborhood. It was disgusting. She's got roaches everywhere. She said, how do roaches get into a freezer? She said, I got roaches dying in my ice tray. And I thought, that's so disgusting. I don't know.
But I had friends growing up with that. And for our black community, I know we know now, but back then I didn't know, man, it used to be weird when I go to people's houses. I'm like, well, how is your cereal in the refrigerator?
Yeah.
I didn't, it didn't hit me, man, I guess they want some cold Cheerios or something. I don't know what's going on. But as I got older, I understood.
Oh, yeah.
Y'all trying to hide the food from the roaches. Yeah. Y'all trying to make sure the roaches
imagine the roach opens up your refrigerator and eats it anyway. She showed me that she marinated some meat And then she showed me that they got in there anyway.
Oh, the roach is waking up like, I'm just getting here. Let me open up the fridge.
She said, what are these roaches bench pressing that they can open up the refrigerator? I was done. I was like, Miss D, you wild. And then she sent me a video. She was boiling some water for her rice. And it was a roach walked across. It's the flat stove that just turns red when it's hot. That roach walked across it like it was nothing. Like the burning sand. Like, these roaches must have been Satan's roaches because they had already walked across fire and they were fine with it. Oh
man, they walking across that fire ain't nothing but a gangster party. Bumping pot, like that's insane for a roach. No,
and I was like, I don't know what to tell you because you signed a 12-month lease.
Yeah,
I don't know
what's the cost to break this lease. Can I just pay you an extra month ahead? Like, I need to get up out of this.
Absolutely. And so what she ended up doing is moving her stuff into storage, is just living in there like a pauper. But
so basically, she's got like a bed
and the bare minimum. And it's disgusting.
That's sad.
And like no spray or nothing works because when you're in an apartment situation, it's not how you're living.
It's how everybody else.
It's like everybody else.
You might be able to bomb your place and it's clear, and it's like, oh man, it's
clear over there.
It's so everybody else attendants upstairs like, man, I don't know why I ain't seen these roaches in so long.
Yes, and I don't know if I could tell myself that I could live that low for the sake of, because at that point you've deprived yourself of your basic like living expectations. Yeah, so you're not doing this for that anymore. The next place you get, you need it to be a castle because of what you sacrificed.
Well, it's so far down, now you shoot real high.
I can't imagine that, and I don't think I'd much rather have 4 roommates than live in a roach infested home.
I'd rather argue with people and
absolutely
rather than have
I would rather people eat my yogurt that I wrote my name on.
I'd rather people eat than roaches eat.
Absolutely, I'll take that. Like, if it's going to be you, Sheree, you eat it. But if roaches get in here and start eating my stuff, I'm out.
She said, what they bench press and be able to open this refrigerator and
I was like, how are they getting it? She said, I don't know if they already lived here. She said, these things can live in the cold, in the freezer, and walk across the hot stove.
We adaptable,
I said that them are the ones that survive with dinosaurs because this is different. Yes.
But see, and it's all, I mean, I'm laughing, but that's also sad, like the state that we're in, to have to be like, yo, I'm going to have to downgrade my whole lifestyle just so I can afford something. And
save. And she's only doing it because she wants to buy a house. And that's what I think is wild. And I was like, what if you could roommate with, your friend that's letting you stay? And it was like,
and still save probably the same amount and live better.
And I also get it being in your 50s and being like, I can't roommate. You know what I mean?
You setting the ways. You like things a certain way. You like doing certain things.
So. People coming in at different hours and you're
like, hold on, who this?
Yeah.
Security. So. I get it. But
I get that, and I think she just didn't understand how low she was gonna have to go to save.
Did she hit you up like, yo, is there a way you can get me out?
She wanted to know how to get out, and if there was any way she could buy, even if she couldn't buy the home that she wanted. The thing that sucks is she made enough to buy the home that she wanted. It's the interest rates and
the taxes,
the credit score that was actually what was holding her back, and it wasn't even that wasn't her fault. So she had because she had something hit her credit from the storm that busted people's pipes or whatever in her unit, and so they showed that she missed a payment when in reality they broke her lease. She had nowhere to live. Like, she was on the first floor of this apartment unit, and they told her, hey, we're breaking your lease. But they still...
How is that legal?
I mean, you can go back and fight it, but it's there. You know what I mean? When you're trying to look for anything that you fight is going to take at least 30 days. She don't have 30 days to just float.
Yeah.
She needs somewhere to live. So in the meantime that she's fighting it and trying to get them to remove it, she's got that on there. And it took her down. It dropped her credit score a lot, like 60 points or something like that. And you know, to buy a home, you gotta
have a certain.
Yeah.
But they don't take that in consideration. Like, is that not?
Oh, absolutely not. The banks do not care.
Like, but it's not my fault. It's not my fault. These pipes is busted. And I can clearly show you
99% of the people in prison are innocent if you ask them. So,
but she's innocent for real.
She is, I know, but they're not gonna look at her and be like, you know what, this one might actually be for real.
Wouldn't you be able to get like something from your apartment that says, "Hey"?
And then, yes, absolutely, she did, and they said that's wonderful. As soon as it reflects on your credit score, we'll be happy to approve it. Because you have to understand, a lot of that stuff is automated so that they can't cheat people out of opportunities. So they need the credit report to show so that it can be filed this way and not show that they show favoritism. Because the problem is that other people have been shown that favoritism in the past, and now that everything's federally regulated, it has to be at a certain point.
People who messed it up. And people who need it don't get a shot.
Curveball, yeah. I know. It's janky.
I mean, liven this up. That's kind of sad. Like, dang.
A lot of people get into a lot of bad situations. I've seen, like, divorce is one of the worst things for people. Like, if they don't buy immediately when they come out of a divorce, credit scores tank.
Why is it?
It's switching and moving people off of cars and closing this card because we owned it together.
Also, like closing a long credit.
Yes.
And stuff like that.
Yes. And then they're closing out those cards. Now, all of a sudden, like, their credit score, like, all right, I'm ready to buy a house. Your credit score is 1.
Hold on, it was just 800.
Yeah, but then you got
to close out these 3 accounts.
Yes, and then think about it. You're selling your house that you own together. And so as soon as you pay that debt off, it's like a jump and then a dip. Like, oh.
Which is crazy because when you buy a house and you acquire that debt, then your credit score goes down because you have more debt on it. So when you sell
as you pay it, it goes up because you're paying off that debt. But then you sell it.
And then it's like,
oh, great, wonderful. You lost all that debt. And it's like, oh, wait, you have less credit available. So now your credit score dumps back down. Yeah. So that's why, like, when people are going through a divorce, you both need to buy now. I know you don't want to because you've been through a lot. And you're not ready to start yet. So really, but you need to.
When you're divorcing, you still need to talk with each other and be like, yo, our credit score is finna dip. Right? So
I don't like you, but
that's probably why people still live together in separate rooms. And stuff. Like, you know what? This is my side. Don't come on this side.
Don't come on my side.
For real. Until we figure out a plan to be able to buy something later on when we actually have this.
Yes.
That makes I used to question people like,
why do they do that? Yeah, no. House? They're doing this for the kids? Like, no, we're doing it for our credit report. Isn't that sad?
Look, I'm not doing it for that seed. Children, I'm doing it for
the other seed.
Credit. Like, I'm trying to keep this thing going.
They've got to buy.
That's some new insight.
Yep. I've had people buy, and then they both agree to sign for each other because if you're married in Texas, that other person has to sign on your title. They'll sell the home and sign for each other, and then just agree that whenever we fill out this divorce decree, we're going to say that my address is my address and your address is your address.
What?
Yes, because they purchased new homes. But in Texas, every home that you buy while you're still married is community property. So they will buy separately, sell that home, split the money, buy separately, and then sign on the divorce decree that their house that they bought is just for them.
Makes sense, I guess. But
I'm like, that's the smartest way to do it because what your credit is about to do, what all of your finances is about to do, and now that you got to reopen stuff in just your name or whatever, your credit age is 2 days. Like you don't have nothing.
That makes sense. Man, it's a lot to this game. Like it's a lot of stuff that I didn't know about that when you bring up. Now I've got more questions for. Like I'm like, hold on, wait, how does that work?
And imagine having these conversations with people.
Imagine having conversations with myself. Like, hold on, if I get into this situation where I need to think about. I need to think about what's my exit strategy? Like, what's my credit score gonna look like after this?
Yeah.
Am I gonna be able to save money?
For everything.
Or I'm gonna have to go live with these roaches that's open in my refrigerator, eating all my food. you're in there fighting the roaches. It's 1,000 of them. It's just you. And I can only imagine her sleeping and just feeling roaches crawling across her. I'd rather live outside.
I can't. I had a mouse in my second house that I bought, my townhome, and I didn't even see it, right? But I saw a flash of it, and I heard it hit the wall, and then I saw the hole, right? That was enough. I called my sister, and I was like, do you have room for two? And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, so me and Andrew are both standing on stools. Pay for this room. I don't live here anymore, so I just wanted to know if I could live with you for a little while.
But see, a mouse is different than 1,000 roaches.
It is.
Like I can't stop 1,000 roaches.
It is, but at the same time, at that time, coronavirus was big, right?
So you thought the mouse had corona?
No, the thing they said, I remember seeing this stat on the news. They said that it spreads faster from roaches and mice because they can carry it on their feet for longer than we can carry it on our hands. Isn't that
that's a game changer.
See?
That just makes me be like,
are they touching on stuff? And at that time, COVID was like OG COVID. That was the COVID that was like touching you, and then like you had 3 hours to live. Like it wasn't that the new COVID is like, I'm good. I'm good. Yeah, it was the OG COVID. Mice, I was like, because we could actually die being in here. I lived with my sister for 6 months. So when that happened, the next weekend I started looking at new homes. I'm not kidding. I bought a house. They told me it would take 6 months to build. It took 7.5. It took 7.5. But I lived with her that entire time. I went back twice.
So did you just leave your stuff in the house too?
Absolutely. It wasn't mine anymore.
So were you paying?
Absolutely, 100%.
Wait, hold on, no, tell me. You were paying the mortgage there. Your stuff was there, but you was living with your sister.
It was the highest storage unit I ever paid for in my whole life. And I was going half on food and stuff with my sister. Yeah, I didn't give her half of the rent though, because she had lived with me for a year.
It's just like family members. Oh, remember that time? So let me slide on this time. You owed me. You really moved out?
I lived on that couch for 7 months. I moved out. It wasn't my place anymore. That mouse obviously wanted to be there more than I did.
That little dude was in there just living his life, enjoying everything.
He did. He ate a lot of peanut butter. He ate a lot of cereal, rice, a lot of things he ate.
Nah, well...
I had to get out. I'm not that person. Yeah. I just... Because I was still paying that mortgage, I couldn't pay her also. That was the only thing. That was the only thing. If I had a real plan, we'd have been okay because I couldn't live there anymore. And that I know that's how I am. So I know I couldn't be in a roachy situation. Like, I would much rather build a shed in somebody's backyard or get one of those Home Depot like build out houses that are like $40,000. I'll just buy that.
Run a little electrical in there and everything.
I'm good. I've got what I need. I can live in a small space. Like I don't need a lot of room. Like don't get me wrong. I have huge plans of having a second living room where Andrew's toys aren't all over my main living room.
I'm the same.
But
if I needed to, I agree with that.
I could have a bunk bed.
I think that's just how we was raised. Like,
absolutely.
As black people, we just raised
that 2-bedroom, 1 bath. I can go back to that at any time. That's always my
2-bedroom, 1 bath.
Plan Z is a 2-bedroom, 1 bath.
Sharing that room with your sisters or brothers, it's like, hey, this is regular life.
It was, and it was a blast. I loved every bit of it. I wouldn't want to go back, but I loved every bit of it. So, it's still an option. It's still an option. So if I needed to, I could go back to having less space. I would rather have less space than more roaches.
I was. You beat me to it. I was just gonna say I would rather just be cooped up, knowing that I can see every inch of my little house or whatever it is room. Yes. There ain't no roaches. There ain't no mice. There ain't nothing like that going on. I'll be okay. I'll wait it out, figure it out, and then move to something else later. So
100%. Like for me, I've thought about buying land and then like having my family like just build as we go, or this person have a mobile home, this person have a house, this person building. Like it don't matter until we can get to where we need to be. But if we're on 5 acres and we're building separately, we're still together. We can still help each other out with stuff, and it would be beneficial to everyone. And I think that's where we have to go mentally. I don't know if you've seen that guy. I don't know his name, but he specializes in building family compounds.
He's like on Instagram or something? Mm-hmm. No. He's
a black guy too. So like, if you show him your 2.5 acres,
he'll design how
and like you're like, it's 4 of us that want to live out here. We need electrical. We need this. We need that. He will map out and show you like, how do you want to do it? Everything. And he specializes in family compounds. I thought it was brilliant, and I'm like, I already seen the land that I want my family to be on. And the thing is, they don't always have to be there. Like at the same time, like my sister has a whole community in McKinney. She can't be out here.
Yeah.
But if she could make a commute for 1 year and live in a tiny house on the property, she could always
fall back or anything. Like, yo, man, my rent's too high over here, or my mortgage is too high, or I lost my job. You always be able to come back to I'm just stay in my little tiny home for a year or 2 years,
and
stack my bread, and then come back out
because
here again.
Rebuilding shouldn't take 10 to 15 years.
Man.
And that's like typically what it's been taking people to get their life back. Like when I see people, and I say divorce because I come across that more in real estate than I did in any other business. A lot of times people are looking for a house because they're coming out of a relationship. And so I see that a lot, and a lot of times that I'm like, you don't even know how long this is going to take you to build. Like, it's going to take you rebuilding yourself as a human years.
So when you say you don't even know how long it's going to take, you're saying because you got to rebuild credit, you got to rebuild.
You got to rebuild your credit. You got to, everything that you had together that you were able to build quickly, you got to come back from. Because financially, you're not in that same place that you were. And, we hear about celebrities getting these great, alimony and all that. Most people, alimony is not there. Most people are not seeing that kind of money, anything close to it. So
I would still live large. If I got that kind of alimony, I'm not gonna say. I was gonna say something.
I will.
These aren't private conversations. This is a podcast.
Yeah.
The Color of Cashflow. Anyways.
But they're coming out of these situations, and it's like, you're buying this home, and I've seen people like downsize, and she's like, it's just so small. And I'm like, well, it's just you two. It's just you two. And I had to keep reminding her, it's just you two. It's just you two. And we got into a house, and she was like, this will be fine. Yeah, this will be fine. She had her back turned to me. She had her hands on her hip. And when she turned around, she was crying. And I was like, what's wrong? And she was like, I just realized how much my life is about to change. She was like, my last house was over 5,000 square feet. And so to be in this, it feels like I'm being forced into a corner of the house. And she was like, because I chose to be the one to fight for our daughter, I want to keep her in the same school so that she has some consistency in some of her community that's the same.
Right.
But I'm coming out of this home into this, and I'm just renting.
Which is...
because I still can't buy until this divorce is final.
Sacrifices must be made for the things that you really want.
Absolutely. So it's just like, I don't think people understand how much is about to happen at that time to their whole credit profile, to who they are as a person, to how they're about to live. And there's so many sacrifices that are coming at the same time that it takes 10 to 15 years. But if you were to build yourself enough of a foundation, which I have a really smart friend who did go through a divorce and built herself a real foundation of $40,000 saved in cash, and all of this stuff had been set up over time, and making sure she had a reliable car, making sure she had all these things before she left, so that when that time came, you can try to take from me what you want, but I built enough that I can stand on my own 2 feet. But there's not enough of a foundation most of the time that people go down to bare minimum and have to build for 10 to 15 years to come back to being who they were before.
Usually y'all podcasts are real lively, but man, you got me thinking. You got me thinking a lot. Like, man, like this is real truth, harsh truth.
It is, but that's the reason why. Like, I don't want people to get life insurance so that their kids have something when they die. Because if you were, imagine So my parents were married for 15 years before they got a divorce, right? If my mom had a life insurance policy, an index universal life policy, and had been putting the bare minimum in for that 15 years, she could have taken out all of that money, and we would not have been in a 2-bedroom, 1-bath. She could have had some time because it's available in that time period. You don't have to wait till 59 and a half. You don't have to worry about taxes. You don't have all these things. In 15 years, she could have withdrew everything that she had put into it and still had the entire policy available if something would have happened. Yes, so she could have pulled that money out, and she could have bought a home right away. She could have been on her feet. She could have taken some time to do college classes. She could have, poured into us more like she wanted to. She could have had that time where she was still whole and not picking up the pieces.
This is what people understand. No. Especially arguing how versatile a life insurance policy can be overall.
Yes.
But we only see it as y'all trying to take my $100 a month.
Yeah.
Y'all trying to take my $200 a month.
And then thinking about how she had to cover, like when I went to college, she covered. When my sister had her son, she covered. Like all of this stuff. Like there was no additional money coming in. There was never a point where she could actually be like, okay, it's cool because we got this cushion, so we're good. Like all of these things that we need. Like if your job offers you a 401k with no match and a Roth IRA, just max out your Roth IRA every day. Forget about the 401k. Yeah, like put whatever you would want to put into it, that $250 a month, put that into a life insurance policy.
I think the theme for today's podcast is preparation.
Yeah.
Yes. You made me think about a lot of things. Like usually we be up tempo on here and we be laughing and stuff, but this is kind of serious. Like, man, you made me think like preparation in a major way.
And it really just comes back to like what we were talking about when we first started this podcast is what would happen if those taxes increase? How can you be prepared? Because that time, the time of that window is 2024. That was the date of that temporary period that they allowed us to have these reduced taxes. So if they extend it, great.
But don't count on it.
Don't count on it. Plan for it and start building a foundation now. So that when 10, 15 years from now, if something happens, if they extend it, you've already built you a foundation. So that when that time does come, you'll be fine. Yeah, when anything happens, you'll be fine. It's just about setting that foundation because you have to be prepared. It's not like you're just constantly having doomsday and preparing for the worst. You're just preparing. I'm preparing for the best. Like I'm not putting this stuff aside assuming that I'll go through a divorce and need this money. I'm putting this money aside assuming that I can use it for vacations. But if I have to use it and I can keep my sanity and I can rebuild a lot faster, that would be a great help to me.
How do we start that conversation more so in the community of, man, insurance policy is good for you. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Like, how does that conversation come about? Because, again, churches kind of, no.
That's out right now. They're not ready. It's
but the community itself is just not ready. So how do you really put it out there? I guess you just put it out there. Whoever wants it is going to get it.
I feel like just making sure that the people who have the knowledge are communicating it as much as possible. Like I bring it up no matter who I'm talking to, how I'm talking to them. I'm bringing it up. I'm having that conversation and making sure that I've done my part. And that's why I told you, like, when it comes to life insurance, my goal for my first year was that I wanted to talk to 500 families. I don't care if they use me as their agent. I don't actually care. I want to have this conversation and I want 500 families to be impacted and understand that their quality of life changes based on the preparations that they put in place today. And you don't have to wait, well, I want to put $250 a month, but I can really only afford $175 a month. Just start at $175. Just start at $175. It's fine.
I think I'm gonna adopt that. I don't know about 500. You up there. Maybe 100 family, like something. Yeah. But I get what you're saying. At least just relay the message of this is what you can do. This is the opportunity you can have.
Yes, and even I like index more than whole life, but index has higher health requirements and you need a longer period of time. Like that's what makes it most beneficial is that you qualify for it. That's why you get indexed policies while you're young. And I know people feel like they go towards index policies as they get older because they want less risk, and like, no.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you want less risk, you also got high blood pressure. So you don't, you know what I mean? You don't really qualify.
That's why I got my kids like, yo, I wish I would have did it when they were born.
Yeah, me too.
But at the same time, yo, you 4 years old, you 7, so
you're still good. You're still good. And if they were 15, they'd still be better off, because I know for me, even though Andrew's policy is not what I wanted to get, it'll cover enough of whatever he wants to do. And say he decides to go to college, and then when he gets out, he decides not that he wants to go to work, but he wants to start a business and whatever he studied. He's got that money there ready to go. I have whole life policies as well, because I got whole life before I learned about index policies. So they still have value. And if your health isn't great and you only qualify for whole life, it's still a great policy.
Yeah. I mean,
and to be honest, you can get a lesser policy.
Can't you convert the? Well, I guess that'd be a whole nother conversation. But.
Yeah, you can do convertible. It just depends on who it's through and how it's set up. But like, I have a term policy that's convertible, and I convert into other policies from it.
That makes sense.
What's really nice with my convertible policies, I can actually convert out to Andrew. I can build out policies for him out of that same term.
And his won't be term, it'll be...
He's got whole life.
See.
So I converted out of my term policy and converted it into my son's whole life policy. And it's a 15-year one too. So I only pay on it for 15 years, and it either we use that money for college, or we use it for a car, or
business, something.
Or it just keeps growing and I'm not paying on it anymore.
Preparation.
Yeah.
Seriously.
It's what's going to be if something happens in the future. If taxes do go up and all that stuff happens, I still have these. I know.
I'm just saying.
I'm saying
it's going to go up.
What I'm hoping is that they understand that because we're in a recession, it's not a time.
They don't care.
So can you please extend this tax break that you've given us?
We'll see. Howard Zero.
Yeah.
If you want to look for the information, it's in that book. But I'm just saying.
It is. And it's I've gotten so much good stuff. I even read about why you shouldn't do the one lump sum in the index policies. Because
doesn't it pay less out over time?
It's not that it pays less, because it actually grows faster because all of the money is there initially. So as your 7 years keeps multiplying, it keeps doubling, right? So you're gonna grow faster. The problem is if you do only one, it's considered one of those endowments. So and those get taxed.
So it's
even though it's in a life insurance policy, you only did a single payment, so it's considered like one of those like modified endowment.
So would it be better just to do it yearly?
Just monthly.
Then? Oh,
yeah, monthly, yearly. Just as long as you're making set installment payments.
I'm gonna drop $50,000.
Yeah. Now, if you know that at the end of the year you want to put in $15,000 a year into a policy, you could do that and just have the one payment.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
Yeah, but Power of Zero, a lot of good information. My sister's reading through Rich Dad, Poor Dad. So I'm excited about that. Yeah, it is a classic, and it's good. It's good foundational knowledge. So she's going back through that because, she just restarted her business, and because she had it a couple of years ago for just eyelashes, and now she's in a salon doing just hair, and so she's rebuilding, and so she got that foundation, and we got to talk about it over lunch, and it was so nice. How good
it is to talk with family about finances.
I know, and it's not
on board.
Like,
and they ain't hiding.
Let me hold something.
They ain't hiding from you or nothing like that.
Yeah. So it was nice to be able to have that conversation and to be able to do that moving forward. I'd like to do that more, but I try to bring it up in all my friend groups and talk about growth and finances. And have you guys heard about this? And there are some people.
They get tired of you just saying. I know people get tired of me doing it and saying it, but I won't stop because I feel like it's.
I mean, if they are, they're not saying it to me, so I'm cool with that. Like I had a pastor when I was young growing up, and he was like, "Yeah, I'm surrounded by people who love me, and if they don't, they've been lying to me. And if they have been, don't tell me to my face. I'm fine with it. Yeah, I'm fine with it. As long as that's all she talk about. As long as y'all saying it to each other, that's good. Because y'all are not saying it to me because you want me to keep telling you the information, even though you're tired of hearing it.
You know what I'm saying?
You still want it. Yeah. So the information's out there. We've got to be prepared. We've got to put things in place to make us better in the future, even if we don't know what we're going to need that money for. Like I was talking to somebody and I was like, I was talking about budgeting and all that. And they were like, well, I don't really budget because I don't have nothing I'm saving up for. And it was like, that makes so much sense. But I have the car I want and I'm in the place I want. So I don't really need any money for anything. So I just kind of live.
That's cool.
And I was like, it makes sense. However, if future you need something, if you get diagnosed with something and your job is like, we're only going to hold you for this amount of time that we're legally required to, and then we're going to drop you off the face of the earth, what do you have set up for yourself? And the one thing I do like about index life insurance policies, a lot of them come with long-term care. So if something does happen to you, and if you're an entrepreneur, like, you don't really have a whole lot of backup. So if something does happen and you get into a car wreck and you can't walk and you can't feed yourself or you can't do 2 functions, you can cut into that money from your policy.
So much benefits. I feel like taxes is the biggest benefit.
I
know it's generational wealth and you can build from it and pull from it. But I feel like not having to pay taxes on that thing is a special kind of...
It is. Like...
relief.
I feel like it's like getting to the register and like something rings up way less. Like you feel like you just robbed the place.
Like, sign back that said 15. I'm going to take it.
Thank you. Yeah.